Hi, everyone, and welcome to this special edition where we are speaking about how you're going to build your game model. And today I want to bring a concept, a theory that helped football forever and how we train football, and that is tactical periodization and its impact on the game as we know it today. Let's start by the old, and I've spoken about this at the beginning of this special series, where I've delved into the impact of the nations that build football and training, especially before we have the theories, the concepts that we have today. And of course, when we speak about that, we spoke about Austria, Hungary, we spoke about Netherlands, we spoke about USSR, and their concept were very much related to separating blocks. And by separating blocks, I mean when you speak about football training as let's train the physical part of it, or let's train the tactical part of it with Netherlands, for example. So everything was very much separated into blocks. Even when we think about Italy, and we spoke about their influence on the defensive concepts and how they provide the compactness, they were basically speaking about principles, but again, they were very much focused only on the defensive part of it. So compactness, as I spoke to you before, it's one of the sub principles of the game, the defensive organization, but then it's again focused on only one element, only one moment of the game. Tactical periodization was born in, I would say, the 80s or the 90s in Portugal by Vitor Frade, Professor Vitor Frade, and he was the main head of this concept. He was the one thinking about football training sessions as a matter of relationships, where relationships are much more important than separating blocks, understanding football separately. Everything should be integrated. And the Portuguese school by Vitor Frade understood that football training and football performance is a complex system of relationships. It's not a sum of individual qualities. Of course, you're going to need the individual qualities, but then you need to align those qualities into behaviors, into patterns, where people can recognize what's going to happen with each other in different moments of the game, in different situations. And that is the biggest difference of football training sessions, because after that, everything is brought up into lights of the training sessions within the certain context, not only of your team, but your opponents, how you feel physically, what is the day of the week. And that brings us to one of the most important concepts of tactical periodization, which was the morphocycle. So when you think about everything being a relationship, everything being based on the context of where you are at the moment, where you were before, where you want to be in the future, the morphocycle as the week planning became very relevant, because now you have a planning for the week that is going to encompass everything that we've been speaking about: tacticals, physical capabilities, and where you should provide more workload, or you shouldn't be providing maybe smaller sessions in terms of duration, but then they need to have a little bit more intensity, physical intensity. And that is very important when you understand intensity, because intensity in football was very much related to fitness levels. Are you fast enough? Are you not fast enough? And then Vitor Frade brought intensity also to the discussion in terms of the decision making, because in the end of the day, tactical periodization as a concept is there to provide more tools for the players through the principles, the behaviors, the patterns that you're trying to implement. And that is bringing a clarity for everyone and making their path for the decision making to be easier. That is the concept. That is the nuclear, the central part of it, is to make it easy, the decision making. So the morphocycle, as I was speaking to you, is again where the age groups start to differ from one to the other. And we spoke about the game model and how it has to be different from age groups to age groups, gender to gender. If we're speaking about adults or youth football, levels, capabilities, not only physical, but also the levels of ability that the players have, everything needs to be encompassed here. And that's where The morpho cycle then led us, especially for those that work in the youth football, led everyone to the mesocycles, which are now periods of 3 to 6 weeks, depending on how you work. It might be 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks max. That's what I've worked before. I don't know anyone that has worked in a longer period. And then you have also the annual planning, and those are metrics that help you, especially when, again, you work on youth football, to understand not only your current position, but your desired status in the future. So now you can plan accordingly, knowing that from this area you need to develop that, and then from that one you need to develop again another one, and then from another one maybe you need to refresh or go start to delve on another one. And of course, this will bring the moments of the game, the principles and the sub principles of football. Now, we have to go to another one, and that one is understanding why football changed forever with tactical periodization. Again, how intensity is understood, that changed dramatically. And another one is how fitness is developed, because fitness was a separate block where you are developing fitness only for the sake of being physically ready for whatever the game are demanding from you. And now this brings a clarity for everyone that fitness is only another element that will help you to perform on the field according to what the tactics of the game want, the strategies, the formation, what you want to implement when there's offensive moments or defensive moments or transitions, etc. So fitness is working accordingly to what the coach wants. And this one is very easy for you to understand. If you are playing with two wing backs and you have a formation of 3-5-2, and you have two wing backs that when you have the ball they need to work as a winger, but then when you don't have the ball they need to come back and probably join the three defenders and become a line of five. The physical demands are completely different when you are working with a 4-4-2 formation as a starting point, but you don't require your left back and right back to have the same kind of profile. And again, this will bring the discussion, this will bring to the table the discussion of the player's profile, but also the physical demands that your players require to play on that position. Another one is how training was, the transfer between training and matches became much more real, and on the other side also much more enjoyable for the players, because everyone wants to compete, everyone wants to play. So training sessions became much more a real scenario of what it's going to happen in the match than training just for the sake of being, again, physically ready to the demands of football. So this brought to light the match into the training sessions. The sessions became much more real, much more relative, important to what's going to happen into the match, and again, much more enjoyable as well. How coaches designed sessions that changed dramatically, and how players understood the game. And all of them, they are connected, because now if you understand your game model, how you want to play, what's going to happen in the match because you observe how the opposition plays, now your design of the sessions will change, and how players understand the game will change according to your game model, to your strategy, to what you are trying to implement tactically in the match. And what you can see here is that tactical periodization had a strong impact on how we understand football. And it's not only small-sided games. It's not rigid because it can change from one week to the other. It's not only about elite teams, because you can implement, just I explained to you, plans. You can implement tactical periodization for youth teams as well. And I would say that the most remarkable thing that tactical periodization brought to the table is that although there's a tactical nuance centralizing everything that you do on the field, and all the working sessions that you are doing on your training sessions, and there's a tactical dominance within everything that you do. It integrates the physicality of the players, integrates the technical side of the players, integrates the player's profile, integrates the departments from the recruitment to the scouting to the medical department, because it also integrates what's happening with the injuries Everything is integrated into one platform, one sheet, very simple, where you are providing the objectives of the sessions, the workload that is integrated with the physical performance of the players, what is the report from the medicals, etc., etc. So it integrates everything. It's very complete because of that, and that's the biggest change, because now you have a tool that, just like small-sided games, they are a tool to provide more intensity, to provide a workload that is maybe not as dense in terms of the time that you are there playing, but is very dense in terms of the decision making, the pace that you need to take when you are on the field, especially for some positions, again, players profile and what you want from each one of them. Tactical periodization has, again, a tactical dominance, but the tactical is only serving as a unit block that will merge all the information that you need from all of them. And mainly, it also concerns about the mental state of the players. And there's a specific, there's something very, very simple and very specific that you can, it's going to be very easy for you to understand the importance of tactical periodization on the mental side of things, because you start relating everything to the next match. And we know that players are tired, and when you do the players evaluation, how the subjective perception of effort, they will provide also the mental, there's questions about their mental state. How did they slept? How do they feel? Are they ready to train? Are not so ready for the complexity of the training sessions? So the mental state is now also absorbed within this methodology, within this concept, within this theory, and this will also provide add value. This will provide more insights on what you can do or you can do on that specific day, because you are working towards one match, and now you start understanding the training session as game day -1, game day -2, game day -3, or game day +1, where it's recovery for some and a more intense session where they need to, of course, get to their physical levels similar to what the ones that played had before. But this mental state is something very important, and I think that aligning all these elements into one platform, into one understanding of the training session of the week, it's something that is very powerful and something that helped all the coaches around the world. And that's why today we have so much data-driven sessions where and insights where you are planning your sessions according to what the data is providing you, not only the subjective perception of effort, but all the other GPS and all those elements that top clubs have it today, and even academies in the youth, they are using it. So tactical periodization was very important, and of course now we are developing for the game model, and now we're gonna start discussing your game model. I'm gonna go to the practical side of things. I'm gonna even provide you with special editions of explaining what is the difference between playing with 2 or 3 midfielders, 3 or 4 defenders, and so on and so on, and concerns that you can have when you are developing your game model. A tip is divide your game model into the moments of the game. I'll even say divide the moments of the game into the spaces, specific as you can be. If you want, define clearly where you want to your players to be, how you want them to behave in specific situations. When there's a cross, where you want your defenders, where you want your midfielders, where you want your attackers, and why. This is very important. You need to be ready to explain why, because the players will ask you why, and if you cannot explain to the players, they will not understand it. And you need to understand the language. You one thing is explaining to the sporting director among coaches, another thing is explaining to the players, because players, they just want you to help them to solve the situation and to be successful, and that's what you want to provide. So before we go into that, first tip: think about the moments of the game, think about specific spaces, specific situations, how you want your players to behave, because that will help you tremendously building your game model. And I'm going to delve into that into the next episode. I hope you enjoy it. I'll see you on the next one.